Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to be doing a brief stock analysis for Microsoft, and then this is not going to be any kind of deep dive into their financials, but more so me just giving my opinion on the company and the outlook for the industry. And in this video I'm actually going to be focusing mainly on Xbox. And what that means is their upcoming Xbox game console release, as well as their acquisition of ZeniMax that just happened this week. So first off, I just wanted to take a look at their chart year to date on Yahoo Finance. As we can see, they dipped down to 132 in March when the overall market was down. And for many industries out there, they're still recovering right now. If you look at airlines and oil prices and all kinds of different sectors are still recovering from a lot of problems earlier this year. But tech has already fully rebounded, and tech is kind of actually in a slump this month, but from March, they're coming back to way higher numbers. And then if we look at their 5-year chart, you see incredible gains. They're at $200 now, and they were at just a little above $43 5 years ago. So it's seeing an incredible gain there. And I figured I should go ahead and talk about the Xbox Series X, and I actually think it has a really good chance at making more revenue than Sony's PlayStation 5, and that's for a couple of reasons. Is that their base version, or the Xbox Series S, is actually going to sell for $300, whereas the PlayStation 5's base version is $400, so I think that's really good there. And part of the reason the PS4 did so much better than the Xbox One is because it was $100 cheaper. And then they also released a payment plan, which is actually pretty high interest, but I think a lot of people are still going to buy into it if they, for say, want the Series X, but they can't come up with the $500 right away. I think a lot of people are going to buy into that and end up doing it. And then the Bethesda acquisition is huge. They bought ZeniMax Studios, which has some other smaller studios or game developers as well, but by far the biggest is Bethesda, which makes the Fallout games, as well as the Elder Scrolls games. And I think people who never have owned an Xbox would be willing to buy one if they don't play on PC and don't want to play it on PC for some reason. If they have to play it on console, they would literally buy an Xbox just to play one of these games. That's how committed the fans are and how huge these franchises are. I would say Bethesda is actually probably in the top 3 of the biggest game studios, aside from Microsoft, and there's also Rockstar and Ubisoft in there, but Bethesda is definitely one of the biggest, so it's huge that Microsoft did acquire them, and it's going to be a huge payoff for the long term. Next up, I wanted to cover a few points by the bulls and the bears from analysts at Morningstar here on the Robinhood app. And the first point here, the first positive point, is talking about how Microsoft is doing extremely well in leading in cloud computing. Amazon is doing extremely well as well, but you hear about cloud computing a lot, and those are really the two industry leaders. And the second point is talking about shift to subscriptions, and I think what they're talking about is with Microsoft's Azure, but I could also connect this to Xbox. They're really focusing on Xbox's Game Pass, and if you think about it, it's really worth it for people who even just buy 2 or 3 games a year. They could spend $120 or $180 on those games, or they could just spend $10 a month on Game Pass, and I think this is going to be a really popular move among Xbox players. Even those who don't have Game Pass now, it's going to be a growing subscription, and they're probably going to sell more consoles than ever. I expect them to do more sales for the upcoming console than they did with the Xbox One. And then this next point is Microsoft has monopoly-like positions in various areas, such as OS and Office, that have served as cash cows to help drive Azure growth. And you could actually kind of connect this back to Xbox as well. Microsoft can sink as much money into Xbox as they want to grow it. Sony definitely does not have the money to, say, acquire huge companies like ZeniMax, like Xbox just did. So they definitely have that going for them, just that they're so much bigger than Sony, and they could approach having a monopoly if they do much better in sales moving forward. And then I also wanted to take look at a few bearish points. The first one here is that Microsoft is not the top player in cloud computing, and as I kind of already mentioned, I think Amazon is the top player, but Microsoft is definitely up there. And then Microsoft lacks a meaningful mobile presence, which is definitely true if you think about Apple and Google being way ahead of them, but that's not necessarily something they have to be involved in if they're doing well otherwise, with PCs and laptops and Xbox, obviously. And then the last point here is that momentum is slowing in the ongoing shift to subscriptions, particularly in Office. And that's definitely true, not something I really would have thought about, but they haven't really been innovative and adding on things, really useful things to Office in a meaningful way. And I think they really need some innovation to make more applications for Microsoft Office. They're really just doing gradual changes over time to improve their product, but they really need better applications out there that I really can't even begin to think of because I don't know exactly what people need, but I think they need to figure that out to drive more subscription growth for Microsoft Office. And then here is their research report overview from Morningstar. It's given 3 stars, and I would actually say it's 5 stars. I think they give it 3 stars mostly because it's near the fair value right now. They gave it a fair value of $228, and it's currently at about $200. I would say with the ZeniMax acquisition, they own Bethesda, it's more like $250 or even $260 if you see the growth with Bethesda like I do. And then uncertainty is medium. I would actually say that's low or very low, even though cloud computing, the uncertainty is medium or high. I would say for the overall company and with all the different things they do, the uncertainty is very low. They're not going away anytime soon. And then their stewardship is exemplary, which you don't see too often, but they have some really great top management. I know I kind of zipped through some of that. Definitely let me know what you think down in the comments about Sony versus Microsoft moving forward. I would love to chat with you about it. I make tons of brief stock analysis videos like this one, so be sure to come and check it out. Subscribe for more content, and thank you so much for watching.